These are images and advertisements that have been used over the years to promote Miami Beach. They painted a very inviting picture for tourists looking for fun and excitement in tropical sunshine, if they were white. The story of blacks working and living here is a different picture altogether, one of segregation, exploitation, and an ongoing struggle for equal treatment. Many young people hearing about the rampant and overt discrimination in the past often wonder why black people tolerated their treatment. Listen to how Bea Hines, the first black female columnist for the Miami Herald, explained this to her sons.
When I used to tell them the stories about riding in the back of the bus, and Ricky said, "Not me, I wouldn't do that." I said, "You would do it. If you want to live and you want to live a good life, you follow the rules." That was the law of the land.
Beaches were not private property in Florida. Access to the ocean was considered a right. Black activists had been insisting on access for years, and promises were made, but the onset of World War II was used as an excuse to delay the promises. With the end of the war, the South Florida chapter of the Congress of Racial Equality, known as CORE, ran out of patience. In May 1945, a small group of male activists staged a wade-in at Baker's Hallover Beach, hoping to be arrested so they could use the publicity to apply pressure. Local officials refused to arrest them and came up with an alternative. Instead of an integrated beach, they conceded a separate but equal beach for black people on Virginia Key. While getting access to the ocean was an important step for blacks, it was in the area of jobs where change was most needed.
The only thing that was open to black women, if you didn't have a degree in nursing or a teacher's degree or social work, you became a maid. It was actually the only thing I could do. I needed to feed my children.
Tourism was Miami Beach's main source of income. In the 1950s and 60s, Miami Beach's nightlife was world famous. Black celebrity entertainers played to white audiences. Neon marquees lit up the night with names like Nat King Cole, Count Basie and Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Armstrong, Sammy Davis Jr., and Lena Horne, superstars of the jazz and rhythm and blues scene. Even though they drew in the crowds to the hotel lounges, they could not spend the night on Miami Beach. With the popularity of jazz and rhythm and blues, the celebrity status conferred on the performers meant they had power, and they began to use it. In 1951, Copa City, a popular beach nightclub, booked legendary singer and dancer Josephine Baker. Baker said she would only perform for an integrated audience. The manager agreed, and Baker filled Copa City's 750 seats every night. Singer Lena Horne took it a step further. She insisted on integrated audiences and not just with blacks in the back of the room. In 1955, the Montgomery bus boycott by black passengers proved that economic sanctions combined with good organization and publicity was effective in forcing integration. The Miami chapter of the Congress of Racial Equality, founded by progressive Jews from Miami Beach, used the tactics of sit-ins at lunch counters and economic boycotts of stores that didn't allow blacks to try on clothes, shoes, or hats inside the store. Florida Governor Leroy Collins and Miami Mayor Robert King High wanted to avoid the violence seen on national television in other southern cities, so the Miami police were deployed to protect the protesters.
There was a store downtown by the name of Richards. Richards called me up and said, "Mo, I want you to come help me integrate my store." Well, that's the kind of guy we like. And we sat down and we made plans. And one waitress in there said, "I'm not gonna serve no black folks, you know." And Mr. Richards heard her and he called and said, "You're right, you ain't gonna never serve nobody else in here. Take off that apron and get your pocketbook."
The Civil Rights Act was signed in 1964. It outlawed all forms of discrimination. The National Voting Rights Act was signed in 1965. It guaranteed the rights of blacks to vote. Progress was happening by statute, but local customs were changing more slowly. One sign of that change occurred in 1972. Demita Jo Nicholson, an 18-year-old African-American college student, was selected as Miss Miami Beach. But the reality was the hotels on Miami Beach were still white-owned and white-managed, and jobs for blacks were at the bottom rung of the ladder of success. This changed because of an insult. Nelson Mandela, a former 30-year political prisoner, activist against the oppressive South African system of segregation called apartheid, and one of the most revered figures in Africa and the world, came to Miami at the end of 1989.
Just before he arrived, Cuban-American political leaders really demanded that he speak badly of Castro, or that they would not welcome him into the community. And as a result, Nelson Mandela was snubbed, and people from all over the country and some from outside the country began to say, well, what's going on in Miami? But more importantly, what are you going to do about it?
Boycott Miami was a success, costing Miami and Miami Beach millions of dollars in lost revenues, and gave Greater Miami a negative image. H.T. Smith called it the Quiet Riot. But it was 3 years before concessions were made and the boycott was called off. A nationally known black developer, Donahue Peebles, bought and rebuilt the Royal Palm Hotel on Collins Avenue in 1996. It was the first major hotel on Miami Beach developed and owned by an African American. The boycott organizers demanded more black jobs in the tourism industry, loans to black businesses, and scholarships for black students. Nelson Mandela was given a proclamation and a key to the city of Miami Beach. The boycott is considered by many to be a pivotal point in black history in Miami. But old stereotypes still remain. The NAACP has criticized Miami Beach police for overreacting to crowds of young black visitors, using unnecessary force for crowd control. The city is reviewing the police actions and has appointed a Black Advisory Committee to help with community awareness. Concern for the tourist experience is still the business of Miami Beach.